Okay. So to the fifth and final stage of the Tour de Hongrie 2026, relatively short thrash of 147 kilometers for the riders out of the shores of Lake Balaton, heading towards Veszprém. Balaton Al Madi, popular resort town on the northern shore of Lake Balaton in Veszprém County. About the town, closely linked to the opening of the railway back in 1909. A fifth stage with almost 2,000 meters of elevation. Plenty of grippy ascents to challenge the riders, and wind due to blow as well, with gusts in excess of 60 kilometers an hour and wind conditions minimum of about 30 kilometers an hour in the exposed areas. Plenty of opportunity for some echelon racing on the road to Veszprém on the final day of action on Tour de Hongrie 2026. Destination Veszprém. And 97 riders reporting for duty from the 100 which had completed yesterday's fourth and penultimate stage at the local bike path in Balaton Al Madi. And the local dignitaries delighted once again to play host to the national stage race on the shores of the largest lake in Central Europe. Freshwater lake gets up to temperatures of 30 degrees Celsius during the summer, maybe a little less than that today though. Really testing and demanding conditions for the riders. And Jakob Söderqvist all smiles yesterday after his stage 4 success. Now the more serious visage presented to the crowd and the local dignitaries at the start line. Anxious perhaps about what awaits. The wind added to the challenges of the terrain, certainly getting the attention of the young Lidl track rider. 19 teams getting set to do battle one final time. Flag in the early stages, and naturally enough, rain jackets abound in the main peloton. And way to repurpose motor vehicles, turn them into bicycles. What a great idea. Benoit Cosnefroy on the attack in the early stages, trying to overturn that 40-second deficit to the yellow jersey. And Lidl Trek representation close to the front of the peloton, as you might expect, alive to the danger of the UAE Team Emirates XR G-Man. And other riders trying to join the party as well, taking a while to establish an early move. Eric Vetter among the riders keen to move clear of the rest. Team United Shipping have been involved in so much of the attacking throughout the Tour de Hongrie this year, and Vetter going in search of something a little bit special. It does look, when you see the profile of the day, as if it might be one of those days where the early break might survive. Well, Jakob Söderqvist has to look out today for all his general classification rivals. Berg Vetter perhaps not among them. 55th overall at 11 minutes and 27 seconds, so that's not much of a challenge. As long as they have Benoit Koznefol, Luke Plapp and those nearest to him back in the main peloton, not so much to worry about. This group now starting to move clear. Group of 7 assembling out front. Nikias Arndt, perhaps the best known rider, the sprinter and sprint lead out for the Team Bahrain Victoria squad, a very experienced German rider. Peppered in amongst a group of 7 is teenager Ezra Cowdell. The colours of the Modern Adventure Pro Cycling squad. The Virtual Mountains classification. Well, Eric Vetter claiming the first climb of the day and the 5 points that go with it. Potentially in with a shout of challenging for that one. Andrea Pietrabon of the Team Polti Visit Malta squad, charged with the responsibility of defending the interests of his teammate Adrian Benito. Benito in that Mountains red jersey, but stuck back in the peloton. Vetter knowing that with 5 classified climbs through the day, an excellent chance to claim that Mountains jersey at the final day of asking. Vetter it is that takes the 5 points ahead of Pietrabon. Jamie Meehan of Ireland and Team Cofidis rolling across the line in 3rd. Tim Merlier back in the main peloton. 2-stage victories already this week, stages 1 and 3 for the Soudal Quick-Step man. The green jersey underneath that rain jacket back in the main peloton. Soudal Quick-Step having lost a couple of riders yesterday. Bert van der Berge, a little bit of illness. He non-started on day 4. And then Yves Lampart with that dramatic crash, thankfully and fortunately, from which he was able to emerge relatively unscathed. Unfortunately as well, though, of course, he's no longer available to Tim Merlier, so it's a somewhat reduced and pared down squad in support of Junior Lesurf and indeed the sprinter that is Tim Merlier. Jakob Söderqvist has all of his team around him. Lidl Trek squad looking strong and utterly content about the composition of this 7-rider breakaway. Best placed rider, 2 minutes and 11 seconds back, Gerben Kuipers. And Eric Vetter, as I mentioned, over 11 minutes in arrears. His target is perhaps stage success, but if that doesn't come, he's going to take care of the Mountains points. Another 10 points scored towards his total. Up to 23 points and within 7 points of the lead of that competition held by Adrian Benito. Nothing apparently that Pietrabon can do about it. Up and onto the 3rd climb of the day. Pietrabon following Vetter across the line. Vetter claims another 10 points and moves up into the lead of the King of the Mountains, seemingly now heading and destined for a trip to the final victory podium. 25-year-old Hungarian rider seeking to do what no Hungarian has done for the past 6 years. So King of the Mountains title would go down very nicely indeed for Team United Shipping. And into the lead of that competition following the 3rd climb, and more points still available. 2 more climbs on the day as the breakaway group presses on. Benito reveals that red jersey for now, at any rate. Seemingly it won't be his by the end of the day, but nonetheless he can reflect, I think, on a wonderful 2nd place finish on day 4, part of that successful raid won by Jakob Söderqvist. Vetter rubber stamps his dominance of the climbs from the breakaway. No contest. Getting in the break. The major achievement, staying in there. The job will work. The penultimate climb of the week, claimed again by Eric Vetter of Team United Shipping. Through and past one of the landmarks and opportunities for sightseeing in Veszprém County. The main peloton starting to winch in the breakaways, their chances of glory dwindling as they arrive on the climb one more time. and heads, and look forward now to the 27-kilometer, 25-kilometer really from the descent after the climb through to the finale. Eric Vedder confirmed as the King of the Mountains champion, just has to ride it to the finish to claim that final red jersey. Pietrobon and others piling down off that final climb and hanging on to a fast dwindling margin over a peloton that has been energized by the arrival of one or two other teams for much of the day. The Lidl Trek squad setting the tempo on the front of the peloton. Other squads now starting to make an appearance as we race into the finale of this final stage. And Adrian Benito finding the pace a little bit challenging as the winds start to blow and the riders fan out into echelon formation. Crosswinds coming from the north, the riders heading east, so blowing across them from their left-hand side, and the riders at 6s and 7s. This significant group, and Jakob Söderqvist has made it into this split at the front of the peloton. UAE Team Emirates XRG also well represented. They've got Andrea Perikas, a little anxious look over his shoulder. Söderqvist in yellow is, as far as I can see, the only Lidl Trek represented in here, so looking a little bit vulnerable, but able to answer the questions as they have been asked by the UAE Team Emirates XRG squad. Luke Plapp there as well, as indeed is Benoit Cosnefroy. So first, second and third overall, still safely in this move. Anxious look over the shoulders, but well, for Benoit Cosnefroy, this is worth riding for. Perikas also will be fully invested here. Chris Nylands has made it in as well, former winner of this race back in 2019. A couple of riders from the early break as well, trying to hang on grimly for as long as they can. Jamie Meehan, Gerben Kuipers, by the looks of things, it is, who's just about hanging on in there. Siebe de Weert as well as the Team Flanders Baloise rider, scooped up from the early break. And that is the Martin Severcek for Soudal Quickstep. Severcek lights the blue touch paper. It's Luke Plapp who goes to the front. Luke Plapp, third overall, starting the day, 52 seconds down on Söderqvist, and Söderqvist like a limpet, immediately reacting to that injection of pace from the Team Jaco Alula rider. The main peloton behind, grinding along in pursuit, but seemingly nothing at the moment. The Team Bahrain victorious, or well, is it indeed the MBH Bank squad? They're the ones looking a bit worried. Modern Adventure Pro Cycling as well. Lidl Trek jerseys there, thereabouts. I suspect they'll try and get up there. And Attila Valter as well in that white jersey. Or is it? No, I suspect it's actually Jakob Omerzel, bandaged Slovenian national road race champion. 8th overall at 1 minute and 25 seconds, also safely in this move. Söderqvist happy enough to maintain a position in the group, looking good at the moment. Further injection of pace here from Luke Plapp on the charge. Severcek is alive to that one, and they're getting spat out onto the right-hand side. Was a sketchy little moment that for Andrea Perikas. Söderqvist struggling to close the wheel as well. Benoit Cosnefroy having to fix a little bit of an issue here. The bike lengths for, indeed it is, Benoit Cosnefroy, second overall. Few bike lengths back in the crosswind. This could be a critical moment. Passes Ezra Cowdell, rider from the early break. He's not going to get any help from him. It's Cosnefroy grinding his way up, and I think he's going to be able to just about rejoin. Key moment, road rising ever so slightly, exposed roads, as very exposed in terms of not too much in the way of ditches or walls, no shrubbery or trees or anything to really interrupt the progress of the wind across the riders. Squeezing across to the right-hand side. Luke Plapp has a little bit of a look. Severcek fans out to his right. Chris Nylands there as well for the NSN squad. Plapp moves back towards the right-hand side, squeezes it as the jersey's down. Söderqvist is down. The overall race leader hits the neck. quickly back on his bike, doesn't seem to have sustained any injury. Is the bike in any way implicated? Let's get a look at that again. Plapp squeezing across to the right-hand side, as is often the way. Looked like it was a touch of wheel there, possibly with Perikas, and well, frustration for the overall race leader, but what's it going to do to his advantage? Remember, Cosnefroy and Luke Plapp present at that moment, avoiding action from Benoit Cosnefroy, and losing a couple of bike lengths as a result. The overall race leader quickly hoovered up by the Lidl Trek-led peloton. They go to the front. They immediately start driving on the front. They recognize the danger of this moment. And indeed, it looks as if Cosnefroy has also been delayed. Chris Nylands drills it on the front. Severchek and Luke Plapp quickly invested in this one. The main peloton also in various states of disrepair. Söderqvist dropping back. I wonder how he's feeling after that one. Clearly his shorts ripped a little and he's scuffed, but what are the physical implications of that? What are the psychological implications indeed for Jakob Söderqvist? How is he going to respond to this one? And it's just 3 now, because all 3 of the UAE Team Emirates XRG riders have been dropped out of this one. I wonder if the last rider just moving back there, Oliveira, isn't necessarily maybe just going back for Cosnefroy. Perikas and Cosnefroy. And if they go to 3rd, well, it is the UAEs as a duo chasing a trio out front. 2nd place overall in shot in front of them. In the purple is 3rd place overall, just 12 seconds between them starting the day. Luke Plapp making a bid to improve his general classification position. I bet he has designs on the overall. And Söderqvist back in the main peloton. What's the strength here? Well, Nyland's spotting his opportunity. Severchek as well, answering every query. And these 3 inside 20 kilometers to go. Luke Plapp and Jaco Alula. And Benoit Cosnefroy is not going to get back here. I don't think it's going to happen because, well, the Luke Plapp-led group is just starting to increase its advantage. Meanwhile, Söderqvist down towards the back of the main peloton. And caught in the crosswinds here. Really easy to struggle as a rider from Team Pulti Visit Malta. Not able to hold the wheel. Söderqvist is in a semi-crisis moment there. Meanwhile, Chris Nylands, Luke Plapp and Severchek moving as smoothly as anyone is moving on these really tough and challenging roads. Oh, his face, picture of contorted pain, but look at the amount of watts that 25-year-old Melburnian Luke Plapp is generating. Severchek too, just 23 years of age from Slovakia, and he too is on flying form this week. How much work has he done on the front of the peloton for the Soudal Quick-Step squad on behalf of Tim Merlier, and how important and wonderful would it be for him were he to secure a top result? Well, the UAE's going backwards here. They're not making any inroads on that Luke Plapp group. And Benoit Cosnefroy with a worrying look over his shoulder, recognizing, I think, the reality of the situation. Adria Perikas 7th overall at 1:21, and Benoit Cosnefroy 2nd overall, 40 seconds back from Söderqvist starting the day. And they're sinking back into the clutches of that somewhat trimmed down main peloton. Meanwhile, Luke Plapp continues to expand his advantage out to 14 seconds. Well, it's a large group. They don't seem to be able to get organized just yet. What do the UAE Team Emirates XRG squad do? Do they immediately start riding? Are they threatened by Luke Plapp and the potential for him to move up into 2nd place overall? Is that ultimately something that will bother them hugely? Or do they make a play to make Söderqvist as vulnerable as possible and then try and profit a little bit later on? Hard to figure out the tactics beyond chasing Luke Plapp at the moment. Meanwhile, Tim Merlier not getting involved in the chase. Why would he? He's got Martin Severchek out front in that trio. Christian Ekholm on the front, on the right-hand side of picture, making way for the familiar side of Bauke Mollema in his first and last visit to Tour de Hongrie. The 39-year-old veteran is retiring at the end of the season. He's enjoying this trip. And at 18 seconds remove, at the moment it's okay. And Jakob Söderqvist has solved that little crisis down at the back of the peloton a little while ago, but he has managed to make his way back up and into the rotation with the Lidl Trek riders at the front. What sort of assistance? Well, they're going to get none from the NSN squad. They've got Chris Nylands in front. Indeed, they're fundamentally blocking it for anyone else that might be minded to come up and assist the Vigard Staka Langen for the UAE Team Emirates XRG squad and the Lidl Trek riders. So UAE and Lidl Trek combining to chase, but well, they're continuing to add to their advantage, and Luke Plapp looking very strong indeed. Chris Nylands equal to the challenge and able to cruise through. How's he feeling? From a Latvian national road race champion and winner of this event back in 2019. A couple of stage victories under his belt as well. Ekholm up the road a couple of days ago, now on the front of the peloton. Selfless contribution. I mean, it should be remembered that he spent most of the day on the front of the peloton pursuing the early break. That one's long since been reclaimed, and now he still has the legs and the ability and the desire to contribute for his team and for Jakob Söderqvist's overall ambitions. In Flanders Baloise, Siebert de Weert, number 111. He was in the early break. Malcolm Mulliman, number 11, just on the right-hand side of picture, has contributed if and when he can. No doubt he'll be making his way back up front when he's just taken a moment. Benoit Cosnefroid on the left-hand side of picture, number 21, as you can see, the UAE Team Emirates squad. Just his teammates to move him back up. Roy Oliveira. There's a couple of riders in front. He'll latch on. And it is the familiar side of Vigard Staka Langen, the big Norwegian, who's the contributing force for the UAEs, alongside Christian Ekholm and Jacopo Mosca for the Lidl Trek team. So 3 riders, 2 teams in pursuit of 3 from 3 teams. Further reinforcements to come, but the advantage still going north, still adding to their total. And the tailwind section that they're in now will give way to a headwind through the final 7 kilometers. Plapp causing all sorts of consternation, not just for the overall contenders, but also for his breakaway companions. Huge strength. This left turn is going to take them almost through 180 degrees and into a headwind. Heading for the final moments of this race. Approaching 10 kilometers to go. 5 days of racing action. And Jakob Söderqvist, I suspect panic averted to a certain extent, but the issue is still finally poised. Bonus seconds claimed to the final sprint by Luke Plapp. Could prove valuable. And of course, you've got the final sprint to the line at the conclusion of the day as well. The intermediate sprints been and gone, but the final sprint to the line, 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds. Starting the day 52 seconds down, effectively needs, well, 43 seconds and to win the stage in order to prevent Jakob Söderqvist from winning this race. At the moment, on the road, Luke Plapp has moved up into 2nd place from 3rd. It's been a tough and bruising day for all the riders, especially after yesterday's stage, albeit truncated in length, 120 odd kilometers instead of the anticipated 188 kilometers yesterday, but really tough, wet, windy conditions. Quite a few riders really suffering in the cold and rain yesterday, and that continuing into today. At least the rain has abated. Raining for much of the afternoon. At least we have sunshine and a relatively dry road through to the conclusion. There's Tim Merlier in the green jersey, still safely in here. Still with a great shot of a third victory of the week. What other sprinters are safely ensconced in this move? I suspect more than a few. What other teams have the resource and the willingness, the ambition to try and close this group down? Plapp and friends hanging on to the 25-second margin. There's the point situation, of course, 20 points on offer at the finish line, so it's not mathematically certain for Tim Merlier. Benoit Cosnefroy too, will he have given up on thoughts of stage honours, or are they going to try and set something up for Juan Sebastian Milano, who I'm sort of half assuming is in there, although yet to have that fully confirmed, but I do believe that Milano is part of this group. Indeed he is, just towards the bottom of the shot at the moment. Painful stuff for Andrea Perikas. 9th up the hill in Page on stage 4, July 7th overall. Great ally and support to Benoit Cosnefroy. Luke Plapp sets himself the task of increasing his 26-second margin, and it's still going in the right direction. 8K to go. Jakob Söderqvist, no doubt at some stage he too will be happy enough to make a contribution to bring the watts that were so generously applied in the breakaway yesterday, bring those to bear in defense of that hard-won yellow jersey. Christian Ekholm still ready, willing and available in second place. And a bit misty as we approach the outskirts of Veszprém today. Been a while since there was a race finish in Veszprém, popular destination for this race. Back in the 1960s, Veszprém over the years has hosted 8 stage starts and 6 finishes. Last stage start back in 2021. Back on Mollema. Back one more time. Gets a flick of the elbow from Vegard Stakalangen of the UAEs. Now Jakob Söderqvist into the line and into the final 7.5 kilometers. The level of his vulnerability to an attack from Benoit Cosnefroy has reduced, and it's all hands to the pump to try and close down that upstart attack from Luke Plapp. Superb attack from Plapp, and he really has put it up to them, and he was the strength. He was the strongest man on the climb in yesterday's 4th stage. Have been a little bit frustrated by the fact that they didn't get to do that final 21-kilometer loop that potentially might have changed things a little bit, but the race organisers forced to make a change, and it all played out so that the man on the front of the peloton right now is the overall race leader. And still the overall race leader into the final 7 kilometers. The gap coming down ever so slightly, sort of hovering around the 22-second mark. So 4 or 5 seconds gained in the last couple of kilometers. Jacopo Mosca doing the kind of work for which he has become absolutely invaluable. Needle Trek squad, and after a huge turn, look at Söderqvist just sinks back into the peloton, just try and recover as best he can. It's the big advantage of the peloton, isn't it? You can do a huge turn, shave off a chunk of seconds, then just drop back into the peloton, just recover. Other reinforcements will keep the chain tight and keep the pace high, and then you can work your way back up to the group, to the front of the group, and then do another massive turn. And just meanwhile, these riders up front have to maintain a steadier pace. There isn't that slippage room, and there aren't the other riders to do the work, so you've just got to maintain a constant pace. Nonetheless, cooperation still being maintained, but 6K to go. And into that headwind, I think everyone's going to feel like they're cycling through treacle. You've just got to remind yourself that if you're hurting, it probably means everyone else is hurting as well. And I don't think there's anyone getting a free ride in here. A turn from the Modern Adventure Pro Cycling that'll be gratefully received. They've produced some good sprint performances this week. Indeed, 4 top 10s, 2 each for Ben Oliver and Tyler Stites. Ben Oliver with the best place for the Modern Adventure Pro Cycling squad, with 6th on day 3. Chris Nylands, a couple of stage wins back in 2019 and 2021. Knows the race well. How dearly he'd like to end the week on a high note. Team Bahrain victorious, also up to try and assist. How's Phil Bauhaus feeling? Is he in the body of the peloton? Merzel made the first split in the Crosswinds, didn't make the second selection. Nonetheless, decent effort from the young Slovenian national champion for the Team Bahrain Victoria squad, 8th overall at 1 minute 25 seconds, and that indeed after coming off his bike on day 1. Problem for one of the NSN riders at the side of the road, inside 5 to go, not exactly an ideal time to require a spare bike, but they've got their man up front, Chris Nylands. They'll focus on his chances, but inside 5 to go, and the gap down to 11 seconds, and the yellow jersey group slowly but surely inching their way back towards this trio up front. Severcek, no time for looking around. Great contribution from Ezra Cowdell by the looks of things on the front. He was in the early break, by the way. The young teenager from Georgia. Is enjoying his opportunities in European racing this year. Clearly is showing great powers of endurance. 5th day of racing, deep into it. Just a matter of a few kilometers remaining. Luke Plapp goes to the front once again. Just a handful of seconds. Surely they're not going to be able to hang on, as the Lidl Trek squad still have Bauke Mollema and indeed the overall race leader Jakob Söderqvist to close this one down. The overall title, you feel, is pretty much a foregone conclusion at this stage, assuming he stays in his bike, which is an unreasonable assumption, you'd have to say. Severcek, Chris Nylands and Luke Plapp just distanced ever so slightly. Plapp distanced in that through that left-hander. Peloton just about on them. Plapp finds himself having to try and close the gap. Severcek spots his opportunity. A couple of bike lengths opened to Chris Nylands as Severcek throws it into that right-hander on glistening roads. Clearly the showers have abated a little bit later here in Veszprém than they have elsewhere on the course. And a bit of a gap maintained to Chris Nylands. Plapp is going to be reabsorbed first. It's Söderqvist on the front that will have the honour of reclaiming, by the looks of things, Luke Plapp. Having said that, go to the overhead and you can see there's still a bit of daylight, not just between the bunch and Luke Plapp, but then up to Severcek, inside 3 to go. It's not a done deal that they're coming back. Well, don't look over your shoulder. Martin Severcek looks for another contribution from Chris Nylands. And if anything, Luke Plapp is trying, maybe just closing the gap ever so slightly. Huge turn here from Jakob Söderqvist, still on the front of the main peloton. Still generating enormous watts, and if anything, has created a little bit of a gap at the front of that peloton. Plapp tiptoes through the right-hander. Wide open boulevards, great racing roads, slightly difficult conditions with the rain that has prevailed over this region and indeed over Central and Western Europe throughout the last few days. Whoa, a bit of an adjustment required there for Severcek. Stays on the wheel of Chris Nylands. He's clearly a really confident bike handler, and the Slovakian rider goes to the front once more with 2 kilometers remaining. Plapp still clear of the peloton. What a pursuit race this is turning out to be. Few sprinters starting to limber up behind. waiting for the catch to be made, but it hasn't yet been made. Inside 2 to go. Where are the other riders to finish this one off? Well, there are plenty of riders in there. Well, what sort of resource have they got after a long, tough and wearying week? Still riding through goes Chris Nylands. These minor little drags going to feel like mountains. And now Plapp has been retained. The peloton starting to close down. And leaving the peloton, the Astana rider, this Teunissen. Looks like it could well be. Mike Teunissen charges out. The Dutchman performed a similar act a couple of days ago. Actually on day 2, wasn't it? And trying to hoodwink the peloton. A surprise attack from Mike Teunissen, and it's offering a reprieve here potentially for Severcek and Chris Nylands as they hang on grimly in the wake of the Astana rider. That's an opportunity just to linger and loiter out front for a little while longer. Cajaral trying to get organised on the front of the peloton. Where's Fernando Gaviria? String of top 10 finishes for him this week without yet getting the victory. And now the UAE's hit the front. UAE Team Emirates XRG clearly trying to get organised for Juan Sebastian Milano. Q36.5s as well. Perhaps Parasini is available to sprint as he has done. Chris Nylands it is who launches to try and race clear of Severcek, who's not for giving up this one just yet. Teunissen, after his late intervention, doesn't appear to be able to offer anything else. And the UAE's setting up stall in the front of the peloton, and they're going to close this one down. It's going to come down to a sprint amongst the fast men. It's gone down, and it's the late catch, but it is the big peloton that will decide inside the final 500 meters. And Gaviria down towards the bottom of your shot, waiting for his moment to shine. Dainese on the right-hand side just starts to make his bid for Soudal Quickstep. That's Alberto Dainese, and Tim Merlier, his teammate in the green jersey, is just trying to work his way up, finds his way under the tail of Fernando Gaviria. Gaviria's going to try and close this one down, but Dainese's clear into the final 200 meters. Dainese, does he have enough in hand? Here comes Gaviria, and here comes Tim Merlier. Tim Merlier on the run to the line. Tim Merlier's going to make it a triple. Glory once again for the green jersey. That's the green jersey that retained. Alexi Reinhardt first up to congratulate the stage winner. Another second place secured for the Cofidis man, but it's a 3-victory visit to the Tour de Hongrie for the first time for Tim Merlier. Fernando Gaviria not quite able to hang on, but a man who did hang on, Jakob Sturkvist, straight over to congratulate, or at least thank, Christian Ekholm. All-round team performance, that. Great moment for Bauke Mollema to be part of an overall winning team. So we get a look at the overhead and freewheel single arm salute. Familiar one, isn't it, for Tim Merlier? Alberto Dainese lifts his right arm. And Soudal Quickstep. And indeed, Little Trek with much to celebrate. There's the finishing order at the conclusion of stage 5 in Devesh Merlier from Alexi Reinhardt, Fernando Gaviria on the podium once again ahead of Dainese, Cantor, Reisberg, Oliver, Borgo, Bessigan, Arvanitu into the top 10. But it's Tim Merlier that's celebrating yet another stage victory. Hits just keep on coming for the Flying Belgian.
Tell me, how was the stage?
The start was again really cold. And then the legs were really bad about it after the rain. Luckily, in the end, was warmer, but the legs, no. But then in the end, I tried to protect Junior for his classification with Jetchelon, so I missed him. But luckily, we got Severcek in. He was really strong, and then I was hoping he can go for the victory because he is still without contract for next year. So yeah, I want to give it away definitely for him and give it a try. And yeah, then we take him back, and then Dainese launched his lead out. Nobody was reacting, so and then I was again trying to give it to Dainese, but then in the end I need to decide to launch my sprint and to take the victory myself.
Much to celebrate for Tim Merlier. Typical pragmatism from the Belgian, but he's got yet another win. 3 this week, 5 for the season. And glory for Jakob Söderqvist. The overall win is secured. Frightening moment for the young Swedish rider. In the end, glory and much to celebrate.
First of all, how are you? We saw you crashing, but you managed the situation well with the team and still won the race.
Yeah, no, I'm actually quite well. For sure, it was a hit, and mostly it's just the stress of the situation, because it was a big work just to be there and to be on the wheel of Papi and Krosnefar, and of course also, yeah, just surviving up there. He was really on a mission Plap today, and he kept us on the gutter as he should, and really put us under pressure. And then with how strong the wind were, we were really fighting on the last centimeters of the road, and then I was the first down to go down there. And yeah, it was really a hectic situation, but everything was just a team effort today. Like, I went on my own yesterday, but today I was nothing without the team, so it's really something to celebrate for us all.
Team success. First of many, you suspect, for the 22-year-old Swede. First Swedish winner of Tour de Hongrie. Arms aloft in front of the large crowd gathered at the podium in Veszprém. Flanked by Benoit Krosnefar, Luke Plap. Class trio. Spraying the bubbly, representing 3 World Tour squads. Jakob Söderqvist equal to everything that was thrown at him on the final day of action. Tim Merlier extending his advantage on the final day. Comfortable win in the points classification, as you might expect from very consistent Max Canter and Fernando Gaviria. Tuning up nicely for the battles to come. Says he hasn't got his best form yet. What's he going to be like when he does? 3 wins from the week and heading to France later in the year. And celebrations as well for the local riders. Eric Vetter going in the break in the final day, claiming the King of the Mountains title. First Hungarian to win that title since 2020. And in the end, a comfortable margin for the breakaway specialist, time trial specialist. Now the red jersey. The classification jersey from his home national tour. Proud moment. And of course the best Hungarian rider as well. Title awarded to Attila Valter. 9th overall on the day. The man who won this event overall back in 2020. Back at his home national tour. Presented to the large crowd. A huge moment. Huge celebration. A moment of national pride as all the jerseys presented on the final podium. Team Polti Visit Malta squad won the team classification. The one that really counts is that yellow jersey. That goes to Jakob Söderqvist, the overall winner of Tour de Hongrie 2026.